Hello everyone and welcome back to round 3 of this deck limited battle. We're keeping this mirror match cycle going, and round 3 we've got purple versus purple, so double Kaido.
I'm really interested to see this deck. I haven't actually had a chance to verse it yet, so I know basics of what it does is essentially ramp, and then you can burn some Yidon to do different skills. But can you give me a quick breakdown on what this deck actually does, Ryan?
Yeah, so you've got the stage, Onigashima Island, that allows you to get that extra Don just by resting it every turn. Outside of that, you've got a couple of big bombs that you can play, but a really good play is ulti. So you play ulti for 4 energy, you minus a Don and send it back to your Don deck, and you get to play at page 1 from your hand, which is a skillless 6,000 power. Outside of that, you've got King, which is 6 Don, 7,000, you minus 1 KO of 4 or less, and then the big, scary 9-drop Kaido, 10,000 power. On play, you minus 5 Don. You get to KO one of your opponent's characters 6 or less, and it gains Rush for the turn, which is really dangerous when you pair it up with the leader's activate main. So you can minus 7 Don and trash one of your opponent's life, which is just crazy.
Hey, you got the promo for this deck is the Kaido, the 7 cost 8,000, active main minus 2 Don. You may return specified number of Don from your field to your Don deck, and this card gains Banish during this turn. So Banish is when this card deals damage, the target card is trashed without activating its trigger.
Yeah. Another great card, yeah. Definitely has a place in the deck as another threat. But yeah, just a great deck to play when you get that stage card. You know, a lot of your cards are sending Don back to the Don deck. If you're not getting them back with the stage, then you can easily get caught out with some of these big costs. We see player on the right establishing that stage and immediately going up to 4 Don and then swinging 5k into leader.
Nice. And one of the other deck that has a stage card is Luffy's. That he also has a stage card, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. That one you can rest it and give one of your characters 1,000 power.
Very quick snap plays from these two players.
Yeah, they know what their decks do. We see the Don underneath the leader, then the tap 3 for the stage. So it's great to see quick plays. Hopefully we can get all 3 games out in this one. 6 Don, plenty to play with. Going to get to 7 with the stage. And we see the 3-drop Jack come down. On play, you trash a card, and then you get to add 1 Don from your Don deck in active mode. So ramping up as much as possible, ditching the stage. We're not going to need another copy of that. And then playing the ulti. So really setting up a nice board here. Minusing the 1, bringing the 1 back with the stage. And yeah, this player on the right, he really knows what his deck does. Excellent plays.
Scary quick board presence.
Yeah. And you can just see how smooth he is with playing it. He knows the cards, he knows what he's doing. We haven't seen too much from player on the left just yet, just because he's established the stage. But now he's up to the 9 energy, or 8 energy. And can start making plays of his own. And there's King. Okay. So the ability to remove one of these cards, you're going to hit the page 1 just because it's got 6,000 power. And 6k leader into lead. Again, some smooth plays from player on the left as well. 9 Don available. You're going to get to that 10th once you flip the stage into rest mode. Or we'll play Queen. So Queen, 5 Don, you minus 1. Draw 2 cards and then discard 1. So if you have another copy of that stage, now's a great time to ditch it.
There's nothing at the moment that removes a stage card, is there? You see pitching another stage.
Yep, yep. So 2 pitches, 2 stage. Not that I can think of. Nothing yet that can interact with stages. You can play multiple, but it will remove the one that's on the field. So you can only have one out at any given time. And Queen's also a blocker as well, which is really good. So we've got our offensive cards, we've got our defensive cards now, and it's a 6,000 power card. So any 5,000 attacks that are coming in, that's an easy block.
Coming in with the swing. Leader. Is he going for leader? Yep. There's only the leader in rest mode. Yep. There's nothing in rest mode.
Taking it as well, damage. Yeah, interesting.
Not a bad hand size too.
Yeah, and there's the ulti and the counter out.
And the pass.
Yeah, yeah. We won't swing with the jack. There's no point, no Don underneath it to get it above that 5k.
Be able to activate that stage to go to maximum Don.
Yeah, and now at this point, the leader's activate main is available whenever we need it. You know, if we want to burn that life, and then it goes straight to the drop area. Also worth noting, so it does get trashed. Our opponent doesn't take that to hand. But once you start getting to 1 life, you can be in a bit of a dangerous position. Just counting his Don, seeing what he has in hand, what he can do with 9 energy, or 9 Don.
Don, don, don.
7 cards in hand on the left, as opposed to 4 on the right, but obviously the board presence is there on the right side.
Yeah, I know. If I was staring down that, I'll be a little bit intimidated.
Definitely, yeah. You've got a 6k blocker and some strong cards that can attack without having Don put underneath them. You know, you got the ulti and page 1, which are both 5k and 6k respectively.
Definitely a difference in hand size. Really interesting to see the same 2 decks, how they can be played very differently. Obviously, it depends on what you get in your opening hand. Different mulligan in this game where you have to either hard mulligan all 5 cards, or you can choose to keep what you have.
Yeah, and there's the swing into the ulti. We're going to let that one go. And is that another king? Yeah, there's another king. Probably remove the blocker here. Or removing the page 1. Okay. So both of those cards are 6,000, but the Queen has blocker. Perhaps it can only hit 5 or less. 4 or less it is, 4 or less. Mistake. And there's the block from the Queen. So King only able to hit 4 or less, so Queen was not a target, being a 5 cost. So made the right choice there.
Going up to 10 Don now.
Yeah. And with all these minus effects, you know, you -1, send it back to your Don, you trigger your stage, and you just get that 1 back. It's in rest mode, but it's there available. And 9 energy, we've got Kaido coming down, I think. Yeah, there it is. So we're going to do the -5 and send them back.
Get out the big guy.
Yeah. And he gains rush for this turn as well. So that king is probably... Do you go for the king, or are you going for lead here? You've only got 2 cards in hand.
I think seeing it, the opponent's at 3 life, you're not going to really be getting rid of all 3 this turn and going for the kill. I'll clear the board and then put the extra pressure on the life after that.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. And if player... Okay, so...
They do not.
Swing it to the leader. There's the counter out for the 5k lead. And then we've got a 10,000 Kaido. Alright, we see the event card, which is Last Breath. So we're -1, gives it plus 4,000. Was that into the... Did we see any other cards get counted out?
No, I didn't. It was just the trigger off that one.
Okay. He must have swung into the king and then Blast Breath to bring that up to 11,000. So that's a good play there. If player on the left has their own Kaido, then that could be pretty interesting. 5k swing, remove the jack. Or just confirming where they're attacking.
I like when they're pointing to the cards. It makes it a lot easier for us to understand where things are going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we see that Jack get removed, and it's great to see two players that know what their decks do, playing quickly. We see the Queen. No point putting the energy, the Don back because it's only going to come back in rest mode. Draw two would discard, hopefully a stage. There it is. And yeah, we got the option to swing with the King here. We could put some Don underneath it and go for leader, but it's probably just going to get removed by the 10-drop Kaido. Unless we power it up to, 11k and potentially 12 with all 5 Don.
Still got that blocker on the field too.
Yeah, so Kaido's going to be sticking around. You'd rather lose the Queen than lose the Kaido.
It's not a Queen coming out.
Yeah, yep, playing defensively. But our opponent's going to continue to put that pressure on. And being able to discard that stage off the Queen is just great as well. Just saves you from using those counters and discarding them or your event cards. And you probably, you're just going to swing with the Queen anyway, the King anyway. And there's the pass.
So sitting with 2 6k blockers on the field, also got 6 cards in hand. It's not too bad a spot.
Yeah, both players on 2 life. And at any point, another 9-drop Kaido can come down from either player. And now player on the right's taking his time a bit more about what to attack first, what plays he should be making. Separating his Don. So most likely keeping the 2 Don for his event cards and then perhaps leaving the others to play with. Are you going Kaido into the King here?
I think you got to remove that board presence because that's coming out your next turn.
Yeah.
You want to bait out those blockers too. You want him to use those so you can actually finally deal some damage.
Yeah. The longer those blockers stick around, the more attacks that he's able to defend.
If you come up, and this is something I've noticed in One Piece, is if you go up against an opponent and they end up having a field full of blockers, it's really hard to get through and get that damage done.
Yeah. So we saw that that Kaido swung into leader, and now player on the right's played the Black Maria, which is a 2-drop blocker. So both players with 2 blockers available.
Leader ability is tap 7 to deal 1 damage to your opponent.
So you return 7 to your Don deck. And
that's right. Yeah, put it back to your Don deck. So yeah, it puts you back. But if you've got a good board presence, not too bad to play.
Yeah, and perhaps he's setting up for next turn here. We leave our 2 blockers up. We leave our 6 Don in active mode. To defend, perhaps, and if we can -7 and then swing Kaido for 13.
Looking at tap 3, only 2 cards in hand.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to put it under perhaps the Queen here.
Looks like he's trying to put the pressure on. Not sure if it's the best play to buff. I think keeping those for defensive pressure is probably the better way to go.
Yeah, made the right decision. Put it under the leader. We'll swing for 8k. Or I think you want to perhaps go to 9 if you're going to try and remove the King. But then the blocks are there. Do you just force the block on an 8k swing? It's difficult because if they've got a super counter in hand, then they easily counter out.
I think what I'll be doing is buffing, leaving a couple of Don active in case you got that event card. Make sure your opponent think about the plays that they're going to do. Swing in and then hope that they use one of those blockers.
Yeah, so here's an 8k swing. I assume into the... Do you reckon this is into lead? Or do you reckon this is going to King?
I think still going to King.
Yeah.
That's what my play will be. I mean, I could be wrong. We've seen most people are opting to not clear the board as much and are going more aggressive into the leader.
Yeah, if you swing that first Kaido, okay, he's going to take it. So we don't have to worry about that -7 effect. But, you know, another Kaido the following turn is a big possibility. I think if you had swing 10-drop Kaido into the king, you either force them to lose it or force them to block. And then you do that same play of you put the 3 Don underneath the leader and then swing into the king again. Again, you're forcing them to block or you're forcing them to lose. You probably go to 9, I'd say, if you swing into the king at that point. But that's 2 cards from the field gone if they block twice.
Tapping 2.
Yeah, who's who? This is a great card. So you -1 from your Don and you get to KO a 3 or less.
And then being able to rest that stage card to get that Don right back in rest mode.
Yep.
A lot of
7
synergy
Don.
with this deck.
Yeah, and you see how reliant they are on that field card. Is that 9,000?
480. 9,000. You'll say they'll be going into lead.
Yeah, I would assume so. And then perhaps doing the -7 and then swinging, you know, 10k with the king.
See the block there.
Oh yeah, so you've still got 2 life, sorry. So there's the -7. And now potentially swinging with both queen and then pumping up the king. Sounds like we're playing chess.
It's still got 3 Don in active mode.
Yeah, just not too sure what to do here. I assume that you go for it.
I would say start with the king and see what your opponent does.
Start with the king, you reckon? There you go. Okay.
Because that way you've got your way you got your blockers in active mode just in case. So he's taking life, snap life. You can now start to pump.
Yeah, this is why you're better at card games than I am.
No, I just judge them.
All right, here's the 9k swing. How much counter do you have? You got 3 energy. We're paying 1. There's the blast breath. That's 4,000.
I think I would have split the Don between the 2. But it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think splitting the 2 probably is the right play, actually, to go maybe like an 8 and then a 7. But, yeah, player on the left took it. You know, we saw player on the right establish a amazing board early on, and player on the left was just able to push through, and, you know, he dealt with a Kaido, he dealt with a -7.
Yeah, it looked like he was probably in the worst position at the start. Obviously, that board presence built up really quickly for the player on the right, but then able to make the comeback pretty comfortably.
Yeah, that was a great game. You know, one of the more quicker games that we've seen. 2 very experienced players.
Yeah, and we still got 42 minutes in round, which is great to see. I love quick games.
We see a Digimon mat on the player on the left. And like we've spoken before, great to see players from other games come and join us playing this One Piece game. You know, it's exciting to see people from all over coming together. Game 2 now. Player on the right, most likely opting to go first, being able to establish that stage again on turn 3 is the ideal.
See if they want to do the mulligan.
It's always such a tough decision, isn't it?
I think if you don't see that stage, you're probably going to be opting for a full mulligan.
Yeah, I dare say as well. It's just so crucial. So player on the right has mulliganed, player on the left looked like he was about to, but taking a second glance.
Do I dare? He dares.
He dares. Nothing worse than putting your 5 back, drawing 5 brand new cards, and not seeing the cards you need. It is devastating. We're expecting seven rounds today, 205 players in total. We're streaming table 1 for the entire event, so we'll be showing the undefeated players the entire time up until the final round. Obviously, we've got the serial numbered Luffy as the first and second prizing, so exciting to see who takes it. As always, if you do enjoy the stream, if you want to check out our content, we've got a lot of Dragon Ball and One Piece content incoming. You'll find our links and everything in the chat. We're 10 subs away from 500, so if you can help us get to there, then we'll appreciate that greatly. And play on the right doesn't see the stage. He plays the jack, so discarding a card to get the extra Don. Player on the left sets up that blocker.
Australian leader swing, snap, life take, and going up to 4 Don for the player on the left.
Yeah, and now they have their ability to play the stage if they have seen it.
I think if they do, you're going to see it come down pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, that's the first play. Composing himself, seeing what he's got. 5k swing.
Another snap take. Tapping 4, so no stage cards at the moment.
Yeah, and just opting to play the page 1. Just a 6k skillless. How amazing are the super pre-release stamps?
It's great to see that they've done something different. They have decks that are completely stamped out. It's just something that you haven't seen from a Bandai card game before. So it's nice to see they're doing something a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. You got the alt-art leaders, everything stamped, the full Don stamp. We see the king come down. That page 1 that was just played is now gone. And a 5k swing into lead.
I love the fact that the cards in this game, you got such different artwork. You got some unique art that is designed specifically for the game. You got obviously some art from the anime and also the manga, which is something that I love. When you see those manga panels come down, nice backgrounds, even the Don, that to me is just, it screams One Piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Those secret rares, the manga alt art Shanks is, as we've seen, it's difficult to come by. I'm excited to see how the English variant goes.
Player right, snapping that life, going down to 3.
Yeah, and a king of his own, so that jack is gone. Seven Don here. Still no stage for either players. And another king.
Tapping 6.
Can remove the blocker. Oh, he's going to do the event card. Alright, so 6 Don, Brashio Bomber. We'll get to KO at an opponent's character 6 or less, and then add a Don from our Don deck in active mode. So you remove my page 1, I'll remove your king.
The most expensive event card that there is.
Yeah. But being able to KO 6 or less is quite powerful, and obviously getting that extra Don. We see the Sheepshed come down to skillless 4k, and then a swing from lead. And that board is gone.
Both players now at 3. 3 life. Very similar hand sizes. Player on the left a little bit healthier.
Yeah, looks like they got 7 as opposed to 5.
Looks like 5.
Yeah. Queen comes down. -1, draw 2, discard 1.
Still looking for that stage.
Yeah, at this point, is it worth the 3 energy? Probably still is, with a lot of your cards doing the -3, but, when you're staring down a couple of battle cards, it's hard to invest that 3 energy.
But I think that's the thing with this game when you get so much done so quickly. I feel like tapping the 3 isn't too bad because you still got some pretty cheap plays that you can do.
Yeah. And we've got a 7k leader swinging in here.
Is he going for the leader or king?
Probably into the king.
Chipping away at his opponent's hand size, he either has to lose the king, opting to counter with the 2 cards, and that hand advantage I think is just so important.
Was that into the king or the leader?
I'd say the king because he dropped 2 to save it, so he would have only had to drop the 1.
Yeah.
If it was into the leader.
If it was into the leader, well then he would have needed 3 cards. Unless one of those was the ulti. Perhaps one of those was the ulti and it was the super counter. I can't see that card behind, but I dare say that that's what it was. So most likely it was into leader and he counted out to 8.
Yeah, he had the super combo.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was a bit
Well,
difficult
sorry,
to
the
see.
super counter, I should say. We're not in DBS territory anymore.
Forget those terms. All right, we see the stage get dropped. So we've committed to not playing it at this point.
When you're at 10, it's definitely not worth it.
Yeah. But having the 2 blockers is really good. And it filters through your hand. You know, drawing 2 and discarding 1, you can get rid of those stages that are just dead and see 2 fresh new cards. Good board presence on the right. We've got some offense from the king. We've got some defense from the queen.
And we're heading into maximum Don territory.
Yeah, we just need a bishop and a knight, perhaps a rook.
And the castle.
That's the rook, mate.
The rook. Not where I'm from. Tapping 5.
Another queen. I see your queen and I raise you a queen.
That very chunky hand size. Discarding 1.
Yep. Who's who? A little bit less important at the moment with some big energy cost battle cards out.
Yeah, the fact that like it's a blocker that's 6k. I know it costs 5, but obviously you're in a ramp deck. The fact that you can have a 6k blocker, but also use it as an offensive presence if you need it, is pretty valuable. Whereas you see a lot of other blockers, they come down, they tend to have the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 power. Can't really do much in terms of putting pressure on without a big buff.
Absolutely, yeah. Blue has some good blockers as well, but just being 6,000, you know, you're forcing your opponent to not swing 5k basically, because that's just a free block. But even if you want to block and counter 1, then it's better than having to counter 2 cards if they swing into your leader. Everyone's survived the turn. We're coming back. 10 Don available. 3 cards in hand.
And only one place to swing. Face.
Yeah, and we're going to swing
Extra
10,000 into Kaido.
2 Don active, so see what he can do with the event cards, if he's going to stop or if he's going for the block.
Yeah, and a good move powering this up as well. If you want to activate your event cards, you're still going to need to commit some more cards to get out of the attack. But again, I still feel like you leave it at 9.
Looking like about 7 cards in hand to 4. Is it 7 or 8? 8 cards in hand, I think.
Looks like it might be 9.
9?
Yeah, 9 cards.
Yeah, one day I'm going to learn how to count.
And that day won't be today.
Definitely not.
Alright, we see the event. We see the ulti, the super counter come down. So getting some good cards out of hand there. It's always good to see your opponent drop those super counters. And you can start counting how many. I believe player on the left's been through 2 already. And a 8k swing from our leader. We're going to take that one. Yep. No hesitation there. You could go 2 8k swings on the queen. But 7k is good enough. If you want to block, you're going to have to give me 2,000 counter. And there's another take.
Snap take.
Yeah.
No need for your opponent's leader effect.
Yeah. Do you swing 9k with the queen here?
I think you might as well. And
maybe not.
Burn as many cards in your opponent's hand. It all depends on what's in your hand as well. Like if you got something that's worth defending with, you got a good event card, might as well keep it. But otherwise, why not buff as much as physically possible and try and remove some of that, either a blocker or that presence in hand.
Yeah, decided to pass. I feel like you swing with that queen.
Especially sitting at 3 life, I think it's not a terrible spot.
Yeah. You don't need to dump everything into the queen. Maybe if you've got, an event card that you can put it for 7 or 8.
There's only the one, there's the counter, what's it called, Blast Breath.
Yeah, and it's only one Don. So if you've got it in hand, if you've got 2, obviously, just keep the 2 Don inactive. But we see another queen come down. Now that's 3 blockers to deal with. Drops the 9-drop Kaido. Player on the left obviously doesn't want to swing with these queens. You're not going to be killing your opponent. You need that defensive block to get through the following turn.
Yeah, as much as the hand size is really comfortable,
yeah,
you know there's going to be threats coming your way.
Yeah. We see the jack. And a 9-drop Kaido would be pretty devastating on the player on the right side. Just being able to remove one of the queens and swing with rush.
There's a block.
Yeah.
Interesting that the 3-Don's still in active mode, so opting to not use any event cards at this point in time almost feels like a waste to not buff and attack with them before.
That's what I mean. That's why I wonder if you just decide to swing with the queen, you don't need to put all 3 Don underneath it, but you force a block and some cards out of hand because they've got no life left. They have to deal with that attack. And if they do decide to swing with the queens into yours, then that's less blocks that they have. But we see the Black Maria come down. It is just a blocker, which kind of gives you a bit of an insight into his hand. Perhaps not the most offensive hand available, since he's still worried about the following turn. He doesn't think he's going to be able to close out this game right here.
I feel it might just be the way that I play, but I'll be opting to use most of my board and swings before I start playing other cards, so I can sort of see how my opponent responds.
Yeah, definitely. We see King swinging in for 10, deciding which queen to block with.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. The queen on the left is the way to go. Or
we counter. All right. So we're gonna Blast Breath -1, and
there's
then
a 4K
super counter as well. That's
still
3
sitting.
super counters, I believe, that's come out of the player on the left hand.
Still 6 cards in hand.
Yeah.
Looking to swing with leader or buff?
Don't be swinging with a 5k leader. That's an easy block, I'd say.
Yeah, by putting it to at least 7, you're at least going to guarantee one of those queens is gone.
Yeah, it's unless he's got that 4th super counter, or he's willing to drop 2 cards.
Which, to be honest, in the position where he's in with no life to defend his leader, you probably want to save those counter cards for your leader.
I think you'd want to save the queen because if you get to the next turn and you've got no event cards, those 2 cards are not going to be saving you. Whereas a queen, keeping that alive, might get you through the following turn.
Yeah, he does still have 2 queens that he can swing with also. So buffing to 8k. Opting to block with the queen.
Yep, and keeping
and
alive.
Dropping 2 to save. So was that the 4th?
Yeah,
there we go. Yep.
Yeah, no super counter there.
Still 3 cards in hand, very comfortable.
Swing with the queens. Yeah.
You have to. In fact, with the position, you would almost be. There's another block.
Yeah.
And another swing.
Yeah.
So this.
I reckon you put the 2 under the sheep shed and swing for another 6.
Unless
you've got the event card in hand and you think that you can survive, well, then swing for 5. All right, he's going both. Oh, maybe not.
Just interesting is that keeping those 3 cards, didn't opt to try and save any of those queens.
Yeah.
That tells me a little bit about his hand. He probably has a little bit of a brick. He could have a stage card. He could have event cards he can't really use.
Yeah, but you definitely go the 2 under the sheep shed, I feel, because you've got 3 life still.
Oh, definitely. That's looks like
Is that a
he's
scoop?
going to scoop
Yeah,
phase.
that's a scoop.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we've got a game on our hands.
We've still got 25 minutes left in round. Great quick games by two very experienced players.
Yeah, and it makes it a lot easier for the whole event, for us, for the people watching. You know, when you have two players that know the decks, know the plays, they know what they can and can't do. And, you know, it's great to see them maneuver without the stage card. Both players not being able to play it and still being able to utilize the cards in their deck.
See after this mulligan, if they hard mulligan again for the stage card, who's going to go first this game?
We didn't see a -7 on that game, did we?
No, not one. Don't need to do when you go aggro.
The new purple aggro.
Player on the left likes to snap take his life. Very comfortable, always taking the 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Deciding not to counter out.
It's a different resource as well. So, in being a card game where you don't draw as much as what you do in some other card games, it's a really important resource to have.
We haven't seen any trigger effects, I don't think, either. You see the blocker come down on turn 1 for the right-hand player.
Drawing.
On.
Does he have the stage?
Let's see it.
Negative.
You think that he'd be playing that fairly quickly, but we're going to see a swing. 5k. Do we defend this? Yeah. X-Drake. And, alright, another way to ramp. So, we'll discard a card, play the jack, and ramp one.
No stage, no worries. Alright, we've got 4 done. Do we tap 3?
Are we going on vacation?
We got it.
One-way ticket to Onigashima Island. Just negging a card from hand to ramp. Okay, we see our first trigger. Who's who? We're going to -1 and KO that blocker. Great trigger. We get another character out onto the field. It is only 3k, but something that can still attack if we choose to power it up. And there's the pass.
Yeah, I think with the way that you can use your Don, even these low-cost cards, they can become a threat pretty quickly. You could almost get a form of what we see in Digimon is, or what we have seen in the past is Rookie Rush, where you can get those low beaters and really power them up with your Don.
There's a counter out.
I do like the fact that there's actually the counter ability in One Piece, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Digimon, you can quite often feel like you've got dead cards in hand because there's not much you can do but sit and wait.
Yeah, and that's something that gets utilized in Dragon Ball also. Just having every card that you can use most cards that you can use for counters. Yeah, a couple of them of minus effects from player on the left with the Jack, negging from hand with the Sasaki, negging a Don to draw a card. You know, we can see that they're at 4 Don. Our opponent's is at 7?
Yeah, up to 7.
Yeah. It's a big difference, especially when you start dropping, queens, kings, and Kaidos.
That's the thing. With this deck, there's so many big cards that are swinging your way.
Yeah. Yeah. So 8k swing. We've removed the Jack.
Back up to 6 Don.
Yeah. And this one's for all the marbles. This is game 3 for those that don't know. Had some great games throughout the day. you know, all of those will be available on our YouTube, which you'll find the links in the stream chat as well. Definitely check us out. If you enjoy the videos, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. The stage comes down. Is it too late, though?
I think given the position he was in, probably not terrible, because the fact that he was already at lower Don.
Yeah, and you don't have anything massive that's going to be swinging into you on your opponent's field as well, so you can safely play that stage without worry.
It does feel like playing catch-up, though.
Yeah. So we get another blocker out.
Both players at 3 life. Interesting to see. Player on the left, 5 cards in hand. Player on the right, I think a little bit healthier this game than previous games.
And 9 Don at this point too. We see the ulti, the minus, the bring back from the island to play the page 1. And a 9,000 swing.
It's a healthy number.
Yeah.
Snap take.
Probably a pass.
Down to 3 cards in hand for the player on the right.
And he's operated well with a very small hand size. Have access to 9 active Don here. The 10th with the stage.
On the floor. Perfect.
Yep, that's the Don card.
See the reflection in the leader card. Not one drop of sweat on the brow. Still feeling pretty comfortable.
He knows these plays. He knows he's got double the hand size.
Snap take.
Yeah, even on the 5k. When you don't have that many cards in hand, you know, to lose one of them, even to get out of that damage, and just a 9-drop Kaido, sure is.
Big tap.
Yep. So probably remove the page 1 here. Even playing the ulti, like, it is a great card. You establish a great board, but don't forget that is your super counter as well. So that's a 2,000 counter for one card that can really come in handy when you start getting these 6k swings.
And once it hits the board, you can't activate it as a counter either.
Yeah. Big swing from the Kaido, down to 1 life, and then a pass.
Yeah, we're going up to 10 Don for the player on the right. We've got 2 life versus 1. Just mapping out the plays now.
Yep. A -7 the following turn, and then a 13k swing from Kaido would be pretty difficult to get rid of. So we might see some blockers come down. Depending on how much Don our opponent leaves up, but
Tapping
looks
6.
like it might be a king.
The king of queens.
Bit unsure. He knows what's at stake here. He knows what's on the line. And
Tapping 6.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to commit to the Brascio Bomber instead. We're not going to get the ramp since we've got all 10 Don. But that might give you a bit more of an insight into what our opponent has in hand. Perhaps a lot of event cards, as opposed to some of the battle cards that they can play. And this is a 5k swing from Who's Who.
You'll think you'll counter out of this one. 1 card from hand.
Yeah. When you know you've got a couple of other attacks coming your way. But Kaido should live to see the following turn. 6k from ulti. Take that one. And we'll probably see a pass here. Oh, we're going to do the -7. Okay.
And then go in with the lead swing. Does he buff it with the extra?
Nah, you leave
Don?
that. You leave that for defense, I assume, unless you've got nothing in hand.
I'd say you just told your opponent now you've got nothing in hand.
Yeah.
So we go 6k. You
There's the
comfortably
ultimate.
counter out of that.
Yeah. All right. I'd say that this is probably over.
So 4 cards left in hand. You would almost say...
Yeah, he's scooping.
Yep.
There it is. Player on the left takes it. Unfortunately, he got stuck with a couple of dead cards in hand. Didn't have the energy to maneuver. Once we saw the Brachio Bomber played just to remove the blocker, that was kind of the tell where you don't have that much left in hand.
But great to see 2 players playing fast, playing 3 games out very comfortably within time minutes. Still over 14 minutes left in round. So well done to both players for making it to round 3 undefeated so far. Goes to the player on the left-hand side. We'll be taking a short break before we head into round 4. Definitely check out our socials, our YouTube channel. As Ryan mentioned, we're not too far off 500 subs, and we're going to have plenty of One Piece content. We've got Dragon Ball content on there also, and we'll put all the details for our socials in the chat.
But we'll see you at the next round.